There are some moments in our lives where we just want to be trusted, to be believed. Moments where we are blamed and not believed in any way. Moments that change us. Let me just say, there is a manga where this one character that I believe goes through the exact same pain, and there's a moment in this manga that greatly shows this. So, in the manga, the moment starts out with the introduction of a new teacher. After the introduction to Miss Masaki, we move on to the students moving desks and cleaning the classroom, when suddenly something drops out of one of the students' desks, something belonging to the new teacher. Then we find out the student's desk in question that it was found in was Kokonoe's. The story then shifts to a teacher confronting Kokonoe, telling him to apologize for taking Miss Misaki's stuff, leading to Kokonoe then saying he didn't do it. His words then cause the teacher to yell at him, tell the truth, thus leading to a back and front between the teacher and Kokonoe in front of all the other students. Miss Masaki then tries to ask Kono to explain the situation, but he still denies ever taking the item, leading to the other teacher, Miss Suzuki, thinking that it's still not getting through to his head, so she says she'll call his parents. But Miss Masaki says that's going too far. But Miss Suzuki then convinces her that they aren't going too far, that this is needed. The worst part about this situation being is it was still in front of the other students, leading to a few of them calling him a thief and telling him to apologize. Kokonoe then decides it's time for him to go home and meets up with his childhood friend so that they can go home together. Kokonoe and his childhood friend then head home, and once at home, Kokonoe is then asked by his mother and his sister if he had actually been the one to cause trouble at school today, not believing that he didn't take anything, that he didn't do anything. She says, "Is something's wrong? If there's something you want, I can buy it for you. You don't have to steal." These words were the worst thing that could come from his mother's own mouth. So this leads to Kokonoe saying, "As I thought, you don't believe me." This whole situation seems so like it's been done before, like it's happened before, since the stuff that leads after his words are them saying they trust him. But it was too late. He already left the room. After he leaves, his sister says, "Why does this keep happening over and over again? Like he's always being denied trust, denied being believed by someone else." It seems the next day we see that Kokono is actually being bullied now due to the incident from the day before. The situation only worsening once Miss Masaki and Miss Suzuki come into the room, seeing that what they had done the day before, accusing him in front of everyone else, was the worst move they could have done as teachers. We also find out that some of the students had taken Kokonoe's shoes. Due to this, he decides to go up in front of all the students, saying, "I'll wait until my lunch break. Until that time, return my shoes to me, and if you know who's responsible, please inform me." This moment only also tries Kokonoe even more, because eventually he just leads to saying, if it's not returned by that time, everyone will become his enemy. We then move on to afterwards to see Kokonoe and the two teachers talking, seeing as Miss Suzuki tries to say that they'll protect him, they'll try and help him out. She says that he should trust her to help him out, but he responds back with, "How can I trust a sensei when sensei doesn't even trust me?" Kokonoe, still trying to prove his innocence, asks Miss Misaki, "When did you notice your stuff was gone?" She responds with after school the day before yesterday. He then admits saying that he couldn't have stolen it because he was with Hai-chan, his childhood best friend. Then Miss Suzuki chimes in, apologizing for blaming him in front of his other classmates, and then saying that he should apologize in front of his senseis so that they can become his allies, promising that they would never turn their back on him ever again. In that moment, Miss Misaki says that she's not mad at him, that it's wrong to secretly take someone's stuff. This leads to Kono to laugh hysterically with his soulless eyes almost, a painful moment, leading to him saying that he doesn't need allies. Then, trying to prove himself, he brings out a sheet of paper saying, Miss Misaki, look at this. Miss Suzuki swats the paper away in a fit of rage. This action swings Kokonoe away, pulling him back, and then he says, I put so much effort into making that. I finally understand. It was my fault, wasn't it? Sensei doesn't care about the truth at all. The mistake he was talking about in this moment wasn't his mistake for stealing the item. His mistake was expecting the teachers to act properly, and that it turns out the two teachers before him were both his enemy. We then see Miss Misaki on the floor, wondering how everything had become so bad, until she notices something, until she notices what was in the hand of Kono, the thing that had been swiped away. So she calls Miss Suzuki. They see Kono's schedule from 2 days ago, showing that he couldn't have stolen her stuff. This leads to Miss Masaki breaking down. So Miss Suzuki tries to calm down Miss Masaki, and they try and confirm it by going to the administrative office, and they figure out that it was true. He wasn't the one behind it. He had been telling the truth the whole time. But it was too late. Time was up. We then find out that everyone's shoes was destroyed and thrown outside. And immediately they begin to blame Kono. But since they already made him the culprit for something he didn't do, it was already too late. Everyone began to blame him. And once again, they had done things incorrectly. This led to something worse than they could ever imagine. They began to beat him up, trample him, believing that what they were doing was something righteous. But deep down, this was just them using the moment to cause violence upon someone else. Deep down, everyone wants to trip someone up and pummel them if they get the chance. Therefore, the one who can stop such violence is always nothing but violence that far surpasses it. This moment is then followed by Kono beating all the people who surrounded him. This moment only being stopped when Kono decides to hit a girl. This moment being stopped by Miss Suzuka, telling him that it's not right to hit a girl. Leading to Kono saying, I was the only one being beaten unilaterally, and she egged it on. Aren't you aware that that's also violence? You saw it, didn't you? Those words, the moment, it only brought despair to the classroom, and it only showed that they were all guilty. Kono then says something that I never thought he'd say. I'm going to beat all these guys up right now. Those words made his classmate fear him. Miss Suzuka saying, you mustn't use any more violence. Kono then says, in that case, what should I do? Both my textbooks and the bag mom made me are in tatters. Isn't this considered violence? With a textbook in her hand, Miss Masaki realizes that she was the one to start this. She's to blame. Kono then continues and says, please contact all of their parents. You can do that, right? You called my mom, even though I didn't do anything. So at least do the same for them, because everything they did really happened. Miss Suzuka only realizing that what he was trying to do is make them apologize after letting all their guardians know how stupid those two teachers had been. Kono had also called for the vice principal so that the vice principal could tell them what they saw the day before, so that he can tell them who the true culprit is. But once the vice principal calls out the true culprit, it leads to Kono punching the culprit. This moment only can be classified with one word: retribution. And Kono decided to explain what happened, how they were hitting him, how he desperately fought back, why he couldn't take it easy on them. In that moment, not even the two teachers apologized. Not any of the students who bullied him. Not any of them. Even though he was told that when someone does wrong, they should apologize. In that moment, he wasn't the liar. They were. When I first read that part of the manga, I thought, wow, that moment really does show denial of truth. It was a moment where no one believed him, even though he was telling the truth. And especially the two teachers who were meant to take him aside and tell him that what he did wasn't right, and would had to at least try and find out if he was telling the truth in that moment. You can really tell I don't have a script for this, because I'm baffled by Miss Suzuki's actions, because out of everyone, she was a veteran teacher where Miss Masaki wasn't, and she took it to the most. She may have been the reason the whole situation ended up like that. But sometimes in life, we get denied truth. And that's what this video is about. And that's where I'm going to leave this video to end. Thank you for watching.